Welcome back to the Uncinch podcast, the horse podcast you didn't know you needed. We have a pretty exciting episode for you today, as we will be joined on the mic by someone whose name you might already know if you've ever watched the Calgary Stampede for our very first Guest in the Saddle episode.
In this segment, we sit down with a wide range of professionals who live, breathe, and work in the horse world. Guests in the Saddle gives you an inside look at their stories, wisdom, and gives you the opportunity to learn about different ways horses influence careers. These conversations are meant to give you insight on the multifaceted industry, to learn and inspire you, and show you the way horses influence careers and history.
Okay, we know you guys are dying to know who the guest is today, so we won't keep you hanging. Today's guest in the saddle is Jamee Dewit, the director and head coach of the Calgary Stampede Showriders team. Fun fact, I was a showrider for 7 years and Jamie was my coach, so I am personally so excited for today's episode because Jamie is a very special person to me, and I'm so excited to share her with you guys today.
Jamie has been the head coach of Calgary Stampede Showriders for 16 years and was a showrider herself, which I think is pretty cool. The Calgary Stampede Showriders is a youth musical ride team that performs at the rodeos and events mostly in Alberta, but also internationally in front of thousands of people every year.
She's also been a mentor to tons of young riders, including some of our listeners. And we get to dig in to how she got here, how she juggles it all, and what she's learned along the way. Plus, we're celebrating the 40th anniversary of the Showriders with her today.
Now, let's welcome the woman of the hour, coach, horsewoman, mentor, mama, and multitasking legend, Jamee Dewit. Jamie, we're so pumped you're here. Thank you for squeezing us into your absolutely packed life. We're already sweating thinking about how you do it all.
Well, thank you, ladies, for having me on your podcast. I'm excited to chat with you today. Yay!
Okay, well, let's roll right into it. For those who might not know you yet, can you give us the Jamee Dewit origin story? How did you first fall in love with horses?
Well, Taya, that's a great question. At the age of 4, I started riding horses. My dad was a horse trainer. My mom came from the rodeo world. I started showing horses lead line at the age of 4. We had Appaloosa horses growing up and showed the Appaloosa circuit as well as the open breed circuit. And I showed competitively until I was 18, and then I joined the showrider team.
I love that for you. And didn't you ride a Appaloosa when you were a showrider? Who was that Appaloosa?
I did, Taya. His name was Two Bits.
The special thing about Two Bits is that he was very, very loved by Jamie, and Jamie had him for 34 years, which is really lovely because not always do we get the chance to have a horse that long, and what a great life he must have led with Jamie.
Mm-hmm. And how cool would it have been to ride a horse that your family raised and to show him on such a grand scale at an event like the Calgary Stampede, and to travel with that horse, and then to have him as part of your coaching career and have him come in as a sub. What an incredible horse he was for you. So we just want to give a little shout out to Two Bits because he was a very special boy.
And he recently passed, so we want to make sure that he is remembered because we all love our horses, and Jamie, we know, loved Two Bits.
Well, now that we know how you fell in love with horses and what your background was when you were young, what led you to be the head coach of the Calgary Stampede Showriders? Was it something that you saw coming, or did the path kind of unfold itself unexpectedly?
Yeah, it kind of unexpectedly. The opportunity came up in 2009 as the program was looking for a new coach and direction. And my sister at the time was a leader of a local 4-H club that a couple of the riders belonged to as well. So they actually approached my sister to see if I would send in an application because they knew that, obviously through conversation, that I had been in the showrider program. So I sent my application in, took a leap of faith with a 1.5-year-old son and a very supportive husband and an amazing friend network. And the rest is history.
I love that. I love that. And another fun fact too, she's not here with us today, but Jamie's sister JC is actually the assistant coach of the Showriders. So
It's a family business.
it's a family business. And it's just cool to know that the network of people that are involved with the Showriders are very well ingrained, and it's family oriented, and kind of cool how that path kind of came up out of nowhere a little bit for you. So that's awesome.
I also find it funny that you're working with your sister, because I love my sister, but oh my God, the fights we get into. So the fact that you can do that, I'm very proud.
Yes, we are lucky. We're very close and are best friends. So that's, I think, how it works. We're a yin and yang, and it
Yin
works.
and yang.
I love that for you.
Okay, well, you wear many different hats, both professionally and personally. Would you mind sharing all of the different careers you're currently working in, as well as what your personal life consists of?
Yes. Funny, I say this a lot. I wear many different hats in all aspects of life. Professionally, I'm a technologist assistant at Animal Care Center of Strathmore. I co-own a livestock transportation company with my husband. And then I'm on many different committees, Strathmore Stampede Rodeo Committee, as well as Strathmore Stampede Royalty Committee. I am a mom to an amazing 16-year-old son. So with that comes some volunteer opportunities. He's an avid sports player, so we are on the parent volunteer committee for Venom Lacrosse and Spartans football.
Wow, that's a lot of committees.
Yeah. Honestly, as you guys listen, you're going to gather that although Jamie has a lot of things going on, she is the organization queen. And if there's anything you take away from today, is that if you want to have a full and busy life, you need to have some sort of organization. And I mean, I can personally attest that Jamie is a master at organization.
So we might need to take a master class with
Yeah.
Jamie on this one.
Yeah. Uncinched masterclass featuring Jamee Dewit.
Happy to help.
If you could describe your horsemanship philosophy in one sentence, what would it be?
I'm very much a believer in being a partner your horse deserves. So clear communication, understanding, leadership, positive leadership actually, and love, lots of love.
I love how you did that, and you said positive leadership, because there's so many ways to be a leader. There's dictatorships, there's democracies, and it's the same with horses. And I think that's a very beautiful distinction that you made.
Mm-hmm. And as a coach of, 10 to 16 sometimes riders, I feel like it's very important that you have a clear vision and understanding of what good leadership is, because you need that in order to keep those many girls in line.
Especially that age. I think that is a great way to kind of segue into how being a mom and being a coach kind of influence each other. So those are two roles that can be similar at times and are also full-time on their own. So how has becoming a mother changed how you approached horses, training, or even how you teach and lead these young riders?
First off, with patience of a saint. I'll list here just some reasons as to that fit this, but understanding, I talked about this earlier, the clear communication, lead by example, mentorship. I set realistic expectations and hold them accountable. I am big on teaching responsibility.
I'm glad that we were able to give you kind of something like a food for thought with your questions. What has surprised you most about the intersections between motherhood and horsemanship, like you kind of were alluding to?
This is interesting, but I feel horsemanship taught me to be a mother without me knowing that it was teaching me that. So the give and take and the positive reinforcement, the communication, the understanding, the love, empathy, compassion, animals have taught me this also in my vet med career.
Yeah, that makes sense. I used to work in vet clinics as well. And there's a lot of patience that is required on both the human and the animal side. So I can relate to that completely. In your opinion, does the horse world support equestrian mothers enough, though?
Also a very good question. I mean, it takes a village to raise a child, and I feel the horse world does a good job of that. They have a clear understanding of bring your kid to work. There's usually, someone, a friend, a fellow competitor, or, family that will help you. You're in the show ring, let's say, and someone will watch your kid while you do your thing, and then vice versa. I feel the horse world does a good job of that. I would say it does a better job than most disciplines, to be honest. I feel like, there's no judgment. You can take them, and there's always going to be someone to lend a hand. Yeah.
That makes sense.
I think one fun thing too to mention, Jamie's son has grown up with a million older sisters. And I have been witness to Logan coming along on show rider tours and being a part of it. And I think what's super cool about the equestrian community is that, little kids are welcome, and you want them to be in the community and around it. And I always laugh when I think about and look back on little Logan coming along on tour with all of us as show riders. He totally has a million older sisters, and I think that's super cool that he gets to have that and all those memories too as a kid.
Shout out Logan. I don't know if you want to be in the podcast, but you are now. And that is motherhood.
Yes.
I guess because we talked about where it supports it, what is some advice that you would give to equestrian women trying to find balance between their hobby and passion in horses and raising a family? Because I know many women, mothers especially, feel this way of like they have to kind of choose one or the other, motherhood or passion and hobbies.
Yes, good question. I think it comes down to just having a strong support network. Friends, family, goes back to my comment earlier of it takes a village to raise a child. It's going to be your support network. That's number one.
Yeah, I think, it takes a village is such a good saying, and I don't think people realize how important it is until you're kind of stuck. And then you go, wow, it's so nice that I have so many people here to support me. Whether you're a mom or not, I think that's such a big thing. Community is so important. What are some practical systems or strategies you have used to keep everything moving smoothly on busy days when you're wearing all those hats? I know Taya mentioned that you are organization queen. Yes. So please share your wisdom with us.
Share your secrets. Give us your spreadsheets. Give us your email templates.
Top of the list is sticky notes. I live my life through sticky notes. They are everywhere.
Are they color coded too?
Well, sometimes, yes.
Sparkly red for show riders.
And then honestly, like being prepared. Prepare. So whether, you're the night before and you're writing out your next days, I'm going to call it itinerary, so that you don't miss things and meetings, and I have this and then I have to, run here, pick up here, do this. So those are some key ones. The calendar, I have an old school calendar where I write stuff, but also on
Is it the big one?
Yes.
Yes. We're the same person.
Yeah. And then on your phone as well.
Absolutely.
I am a big fan of notebooks. Taya will attest to this. I make notes, take notes, forever learning and documenting. So yeah, those are kind of my key for organizing and keeping everything running smoothly.
I think that's such a great one. I mean, obviously in your everyday life, especially if you're busy, but also as a horse rider or horse trainer, the balance of being prepared, knowing what you're about to do, having things written down, because sometimes life is crazy and you forget things. Organization helps take away so much stress and anxiety. And when you want to do all of these things and you want to reach all of those goals, it's like you have to be organized. You have to have that life skill.
I think you and I are the same person, though, because I'm sitting here like, sticky notes, yes. The big calendar, of course. And the shared calendar that nobody actually looks at but me in my family. Shout out to my lovely family. Love you guys. But look at the damn calendar.
I have a saying for showriders. It's read the email.
Is that your slogan?
Yes.
Oh, I love it.
Debated putting it on a t-shirt one year because we were like, read the email, please.
I love that. Okay, well, sometimes organization can be stressful. Yeah. I myself will be like, oh my God, it didn't fit on the calendar. What do I do? And so something that you might need to help me with is how do you reset when you feel overwhelmed or burnt out by so many things going on?
So number one is self-care. And I know that's used a lot these days, but what I mean by self-care is being able to take a me day and just also for me alone time to just sit with no schedule, agenda, or plans and just take that day to kind of regroup, rebalance, start fresh, ready for the next day.
Do you have to plan that in?
Yes.
It's on the schedule.
Itinerary.
It's on the schedule.
Do nothing.
Do nothing. Yeah. Yeah, you do have to make time for self-care, but it's important that you do make the time for self-care because we are always doing so much for others. And, you know, we are people pleasers. So you have to take that time to just take care of you. So like I said, whether it's you booked a day of, well, you're going for a pedicure or you're whatever, going for lunch with a friend, or you're just have some alone peace and quiet for an hour or two to just sit and you don't have to think about what you're planning or what you're doing next or who you need to help. So yeah, I think that can be a lot harder than people realize. For myself, sharing secrets today. I will plan self-care days and I never do them because I sit there and I feel like I'm being lazy, you know, and I think anybody who's like a high performer, who's always on the go, maybe has ADHD or anything kind of going on like that, it's very difficult to actually like, you might plan it, but actually doing it where you don't feel lazy or like you're not doing enough when you know you have deadlines is very difficult. Yeah, it is. I think the more you can plan and do, it becomes a little easier and maybe with age and experience that you actually make it happen. Because at a younger age, probably no. You'd plan it, but it didn't happen. But I think as you get older, it changes a little bit, and you just make sure that you are, because you know if you don't, you're going to be burnt out, and then you're no help to anybody.
Yeah,
so
true.
That's a huge one, and we talked about that at an earlier episode. I don't know what episode we're at now, but the importance of having that, you know, and everyone's balance. Me time, everyone's reset looks a little bit different, and it's so important to know what that looks like for you. You know, if you are a busy person, maybe doing something that's busy but is still kind of relaxing. It's so important, especially when you're someone like Jamie who is successful and has so many things going on. You can only give so much, but when you're not refilling your tank, it ends up empty, and when you have to give back and you don't have anything in your tank, it makes doing all of those things so much harder. So I think that's a really big piece of advice everybody should kind of look at.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Okay, so we've talked a little bit about you and your advice and little things here and there, but let's talk about something very exciting that's happening in Showrider land this year. So if you didn't know already, the Showriders are celebrating their 40th anniversary this year. Jamie, what does that milestone mean to you personally as the head coach?
Truly proud and honored to be carrying on a program into its 40th year. There's a lot of programs that come and go, so I feel privileged to be part of one that's been this many years. Personally, I have been part of the Showriders program collectively for 20 years, so 4 as a rider and 16 as head coach.
That's crazy.
That's a long time.
That's a long time. 20 years.
And things must have changed so much between those 20 years.
Yeah. So from your perspective, I guess, how has the program evolved over the years? What do you think has stayed true to its core?
Great question. So evolved into its own identity and into an elite program that offers no opportunities that no other horse programs do. The horsemanship side has been there, but has also evolved with focus on clinics. We have head clinician Jill Barron.
Whoop, whoop.
Yep. Shout out to JB.
We love you, JB.
Who really has elevated our horsemanship side of the program. We've also put into play the educational part more so. The riders are now assigned winter riding homework when we're in the off season. So even though we audition in the fall, we clinic once, but then they're sent home with winter riding homework that they have to submit every month to us for review, so that it keeps the riders accountable. And in our off season, when we can't be together, they're still riding and working on their horses, so that when we do come together, we're that much more prepared.
I see a theme happening here.
And we're still developing young leaders of tomorrow. Just, I feel like at a higher level now, sending them with, the life skills required to be good humans. A lot of the stuff I talked about earlier, the accountability, responsibility, teamwork, strong work ethic. And then they even have like the public relations side of things, where they're learning public speaking and engaging conversations with the public. So I feel like in all areas, it has just evolved. There was pieces to it, all of these pieces, but we've just expanded and made it better. And we try to make each year better experience, because we do have riders that are with the program for multiple years, so we want to keep them engaged and keep things exciting too. So we try and add new stuff all the time, and raise the bar a little higher as well. So
I mean, I can personally attest to it, not to brag or anything, but I am the longest show rider in history.
That sounds like a brag to me.
It's like the coolest thing in my life.
This is her title.
Yeah, this is my title.
Go Taya.
Take it with me to the grave. But 7 years is a long time to be a part of something. And honestly, every single year I felt challenged. There was something new to do, something new to learn. And, just because you knew the ropes and you did it a couple times, every year it brings its own challenges and new opportunities, new tours, and it was always changing and evolving. And that was one thing that kept me around as long as I could, was all of the incredible opportunities and the evolution. Even in my 7 years, I don't have 20 years of show rider experience yet, but
she's like, I'm gonna beat you.
Yeah.
But just there's always something new. The program is always evolving, and it's truly like no other group out there.
I'm getting FOMO. I'm just
like, you missed out.
Dang, I
You
didn't
missed
know
out.
even about the program
You
for
missed
so
out.
many years.
So let's say someone is listening to the podcast and they're trying to decide maybe show riders, maybe something else.
Go with show riders.
Yeah. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But what would you say sets the show riders apart from other youth equestrian groups?
Well, first of all, the time spent in the saddle.
Mm-hmm.
So we've talked about this numerous times throughout the years, and the amount of time that the riders spend in the saddle there's no comparison to other programs. So horsemanship side, that's one thing. Like I said earlier, the public relations and the engaging with crowds, lots of diverse crowds, making you kind of step outside of your comfort zone and talk with these people, but they also have something that they're sitting on that they can talk about. So it makes it a little bit easier for them to engage with the crowds. So, I mean, as much as there's public speaking in other programs, we do that as well. But then we've got the public relations part. It's elevated for sure. And then I think the life skills is another big one too, that the program, creates or gives, I guess, the skills that not all other programs do, especially when it comes to the teamwork and being a team player. Strong work ethic also, I think, is a big one that other programs maybe don't touch on enough.
Yeah.
And keeping, young riders challenged and responsible and giving them accountability, and they are doing their own work. They're not, mom and dad aren't doing it, or, I have this help. It's hands-on learning, and I have to do this.
The other thing is it's like almost like a drill team, right? It would be considered. Mm-hmm. You're not the star. There's nobody who's the star. You have to be a team player. And when we grow up and we're adults, we're never the star. And that's not a bad thing. It just is saying that we always have to be functioning with a team. Doesn't matter what role you are in. Like if you're in a veterinary team, you have to work with everybody. Mm-hmm. If you're like me, a body worker, you have to work with the owner, you have to work with the farrier, you have to work with all of these moving parts. And if you're just me, you're never going to work with people well. And I think that's a great skill to have when you're growing up, because sometimes we can feel like it's all about me when you're young, and having to learn that it's not just about you.
And so many, like most equestrian sports, like you're judged on your own. You're doing everything on your own. Yep. And to be as a full team, this year they've got 14 girls on the team, but they've also got 14 horses. That's how many? 28 different personalities. Yep. That takes a lot of skills to navigate, to work with, to be adaptable. And I don't think people really realize how much that does apply to life professionally and personally. I think that's a big piece that sets show riders apart from everybody else. And so if you don't know, the show riders do this thing called stand and pats. It's super, super special. During Stampede and other events too, they will actually take their horses out into the venue and they'll all stand in a line, and they will allow the public to come up and pet their horses and talk to the riders. And at events like Stampede, if you've never been to the Calgary Stampede, all walks of life go to the Stampede. It's not like all horse people. It's
definitely not.
It's all kinds of people. And, as a show rider, you just kind of have to sit there and stand in line, and you have to talk to all walks of life, regardless if, there would be someone who you would talk to in your private life or not. And I know for me, that skill of, talking to people who I maybe wouldn't approach or wouldn't talk to at all, what a cool skill to have, that like interpersonal conversational skills. And I think professionally, I think that's a skill that so many people, especially in the younger generation, are kind of lacking. And I just think it's really cool that show riders keeps that to their core value. And I don't know if many show riders kind of really realize the skill that they're getting from the stand-up pats?
Not until after.
Yeah, not until after.
They think about it after.
Yeah.
But stand and pats are one of probably top on my list of things that we do, because it is such a cool experience for the riders, but also for the public. It's invaluable to have that.
It's also part of your horsemanship. Like, if you think about it, you know, you're going to have to talk through who and what you're doing to all these different people at all different background levels. So some may have a high knowledge of horses. Most of the public, I'll be honest, probably doesn't have any knowledge on it. And so you're going to have the repetitive questions and how to refine your talk track, because in life you do have often the repetitive questions and you have to refine that talk track for yourself. And also you're having to explain what you do with your horses. When somebody's like, how do you become a show rider? You can't just sit there and be like, I just ride.
Yeah.
So you have to learn how to have the communication about your horsemanship.
And as we all know, horsemanship is very detailed and very hard to understand, but to be able to explain it to somebody who has absolutely no idea about anything about horses, it takes a lot of knowledge. And
it does.
The riders and the members of the Showriders program get that opportunity, and the best way to learn is through practice. And I think, you know, every day at Stampede they do 2 stand-up pats, so they get a heck of a lot of practice
Absolutely
on their interpersonal skills. And it's pretty cool part of the program. Well, we're kind of seeping into my next question for you, Jamie. So we may have already kind of answered it, but in what ways does the Showriders program develop riders outside of the saddle? Mentally, emotionally, or even professionally?
Yes, we did. We did chat a little bit about this, but outside of the saddle, I feel that we teach how to conduct or carry ourselves with grace and poise and pride for what we do and for the brand that we represent. And then I also feel like professionally, we talked about preparedness and leading by example. So good leadership, mentorship, and hold yourselves accountable. So those are all kind of, you know, skills that we want to instill into the riders outside of the saddle, the life skills part of it.
I love that. Can you share a specific moment with a rider or a team that really affirmed why you do what you do as the Showriders director?
Yeah, there are many, as you well know, but I think watching riders move on, and I'll try not to get emotional, into their lives, going to post-secondary, running for rodeo royalty, starting their careers, knowing that I'll say we, because there's more than just me, but played a crucial part in the young adult years, which also circles back to some of our earlier conversation about it takes a village. We are part of a lot of young adults villages, and then to help develop them into incredible young people. I mean, proud, and I love when they come and I'm asked to be a reference for them, or a message thanking me for being a part of their journeys. Those are, yeah.
Aw. Well, I know you can't see it, but Jamie is having a little few tears, and I'm saying it because it's so wonderful to see somebody care so much. I think that's what we're learning a lot about here today is Jamie cares about these girls. She cares about the horses. She cares about the program so much. And how lucky are these young women to have somebody who truly gives them her all and who wants to be there and who wants to see them succeed. Like, what a wonderful journey for any of the girls in the program.
And I think for the age group, 14 to 21, That's a friggin' hard age group to be in. You need as many cheerleaders as possible. And I mean, back to the motherhood thing, you know, you can't do it all alone. And I know that you've been a second mother, I know to me personally, but to so many other riders that you have taught over the years. And it's pretty incredible to think about the impact that you've had on people's lives and careers. And some of the things that Showrider alumni have gone on to do is pretty incredible. And I know that the skills that they got from you and the program have definitely been a huge part of a lot of their success. So you should be very proud.
Yeah.
Thank you. I am.
Good.
Okay. How do you foster resilience and teamwork within such a high performance, fast-paced environment?
Another great question. You guys are on a roll. Well, you know, by setting the bar high with expectations, but through leading by example. Very much team orientated. Teamwork is at the front of everything that we do. So that's, I mean, demonstrated by our coaching team. We have a strong committee grouping as well. So we're here for them, and they're there for their teammates. Staying strong and digging deep is something that we say a lot. And because sometimes you do have to dig deep and stay gritty. Yeah, I think that's...
What a good piece of advice, I mean, for all horse people.
For all
you know?
people. All people.
You and your horse are a team. You got to see things through, and you got to be there for each other. What's one aspect of your coaching, either through lessons or advice, that you hope the youth... Oh, what the heck?
The youth riders.
I'm going to say the youth that you teach. 'Cause
Sorry, my wording
Sorry.
is wrong.
I will just mess it up a million times. It's not you, it's me. I've got the issues.
Well, we both have issues.
What's one aspect of your coaching, either through lessons or advice, that you hope the youth that you teach take with them throughout their future and their horse journeys?
I'm going to say to be a good human. You're leading by example, which I've talked about a few times. I feel as a coach, that's my job, is to lead by example, and then instill hard work, dedication, commitment, be kind, be a team player, and always smile, sparkle, shine.
Smile so that your face hurts. You're just having so much fun out there.
So that was more than one aspect, but
That's fine.
They're all core values.
they're all core values.
Especially the sparkle
and
shine.
the smiling.
Smile, sparkle, shine.
Yeah.
Smile, sparkle, shine, core value.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but that reminded me of My Little Pony. I'm not sure what it was going, but I was like, My Little Pony.
What is one thing you wish more people knew about the Showriders program?
Ooh, good one, Taya. I feel like the time and effort that we all put in to the program, from riders to parents to committee to coaches, I don't know that people understand the amount of time and commitment that goes into a program and a team like this, from all those groupings. It takes all of us to make this happen, and I think some people just, you know, are thinking, oh wow, like they just showed up and here they are, and like they have no idea how much time and effort went into
Showing up
and getting them there and preparing them, and all that we do. So I think that's the key thing that I wish people knew more, because they just always see the finished product, right? and not all the time and blood, sweat, and tears that goes into months of practice and preparing. And I think that's
something I've noticed about show riders when I've kind of been around is how much attention to detail there is. And people don't realize how hard that is. I did some parades with my own horse, and I thought it would be super fun to put glitter on my horse and make a design. It is not easy. I thought it was going to be, and it is not.
And we have a sparkle crew for that.
I didn't have a sparkle crew. I am the sparkle crew. And yeah, drawing that on, you know, that even those little details, because for anyone who doesn't know, they put like the CS brand for Calgary Stampede on the show riders' horse butts. And so I, being my 14-year-old self and 15-year-old self, was like, I can do this by myself. And I'm going to make a cool design. And, you know, it was cool. Was it good? I don't know. But, like, even just those little things, that took me over an hour to do on my own. And you guys are doing that constantly. And it's those little things. Or how I think you guys got up at 4 a.m. last year for the Stampede Parade. Yep. Was it? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, to try and get everything ready. Like 4 a.m. That is commitment.
And I think just that attention to detail too, back to, you know, what sets this group apart from other people. These girls match head to toe.
Yep.
Same cowboy hats, they got the same earrings, they got the exact same hairstyle, they've got the same flower in their hair on the same side, they've got the same boots, and like down to every little detail, the horses are immaculate and they're so clean. And I mean, while you're in it, you're like, oh my God, this is so hard, I have so much responsibility. But that just sets such a high, classy standard against all other groups, and then gives those girls who have been through the program or in the program right now, just gives them proof that that attention to detail really matters.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I've heard people be like, oh my God, look at the people notice those things. Whatever you want to say. Kind of let the details slide sometimes, but they really add up, and to the outside eye, I think it does make a really big difference. And that's one thing that I personally think is super special about the show riders, is how much attention to detail there is. And I think honestly that core value in the program comes from you, Jamie. And I think it's
organization.
It's incredible. And you know, when you're in it, you're like, oh my God, I don't have my earrings, I've lost everything. I was the queen of losing my earrings all the time. But like, you learn how to stay organized, because, well, if you're the one missing your earrings and everybody else on the team doesn't have it, right? Like, it's funny how those moments and experiences, not shame, but you have a team that's relying on you, and if you don't have the same flower, or you don't have the same little detail, someone out there is going to notice. And just keeping that accountability and that high level professionalism is something that so many young kids in particular need help with, and the show riders practice it all the time.
Yeah, and I think it'll just help you grow up to learn to, like, really pay attention to what you're doing. Because even in my work, that's one thing that I find people say I set apart, is that I have attention to detail. Those little things matter. Like my invoicing, which sounds ridiculous, but I have had many clients be like, the way that you've done your invoicing, where it'll tell me a week before that the appointment's there, and then it's the 24 hours before, so that you can cancel, so that we can kind of get it all. I don't have to think about it. It's already thought about. And that small detail is so impactful for so many of my clients, because a lot of them are like high professional people, and they're always having to pay attention to every detail. So when they don't have to do that, because I've done it, it's a great feeling for them.
Yeah, all right. We have alumni that still wish that I would send them their itinerary for the day, and their outfit for the day, and their hair for the day.
So they're ready to read the email.
Yes.
So we talked about how kind of the show riders impact kind of your life and your thoughts on how the show riders run. Because it's the 40th anniversary, we kind of want to get into some nitty-gritty here. What can we expect from the show riders at this 2025 Calgary Stampede, since it's the anniversary year? And is there any surprises or special tributes you can hint at?
Well, there's lots of surprises this year. Performance-wise, the team is riding to music from the past 4 decades, so 80s, 90s, 2000s, and now. We have brought back our one and only competition performance from back when I was on the team, and we did Equidance.
Oh.
Yes. So that was 2001.
Tell us what Equidance is and what it means to the show riders, maybe?
Yeah, for sure. Equidance was a drill team competition hosted at the Calgary Stampede. There was teams from the US and Canada competing in all different levels. So you have your youth drill teams, you have your adult drill teams, you have your rodeo drill teams. There was 4-H drill teams, and then there was senior teams and mixed teams. So I want to say there was probably altogether 30 teams.
Holy cow, that's
maybe more.
And how many people on each team?
Well, it depends, right? As little as 10, as many as 20.
Holy
so
cow.
Yeah, it was a lot of horses and riders.
Yeah.
So I thought it would be fun to bring that performance back because I was on the team for that year, and then I've tweaked it a little bit with my choreography. We've added some new maneuvers in just to give it a little more, but still fun to see a team kind of reenact a special performance in my life anyway. So that's a little bit on the performance side. We're planning an alumni celebration for our alumni in July. As far as uniforming this year, we have a new uniform shirt and look for the 40th year, as well as we had special 40th anniversary buckles made by actually a show rider alumni, Lindsay Ranks. She works at Olson Silversmith in High River, and her and I went back and forth for a few months designing a special buckle and gathered sponsorship for these buckles so that each member has received one as a keepsake, and they are wearing them as part of their uniform this year.
I've seen that buckle. It is so nice. I remember when Taya walked in and I was like, where did you get that? I want it.
They're beautiful.
They're so nice.
They're beautiful.
We are very happy with them. They turned out, beautifully. And then the last thing I can share, some big news. It's been released in October. We are taking the team to Portugal. And there they will learn from some of the master level equestrians that are based out of Portugal.
Maybe I need to come as an uncinched guest.
Podcast on the road.
Exactly. Take some advice, Wow. How cool is that for your riders and for you as a coach? I think those are some really special memories, especially kind of reenacting a special moment for you and putting a personal history in there. I guess the next question I have is, do you feel pressure or excitement or both coaching during this milestone year? Because it's a bit more people looking at you.
Yeah, it's a combo of both. The pressure to be perfect as a perfectionist. And I know, Britton, you understand what I am saying here. Because 40 years is a long history to carry, and you want to do the best. The riders, the coaches, everyone involved, we just want it to be the best and to represent the best we can and then excited, obviously, for the extra opportunities this team will have, and the honor of being the 40th show rider team is huge. And I think these riders, they understand that, but will really just make it a big thing, because it is something very special.
Yeah, it's something cool to be a part of for a rider, the public, everything.
A committee member and an alumni who wishes they were still on the team.
I don't think Teo likes being a show rider at all.
Yeah, it's not like the best time of my life or anything.
It's not like she wants to be on the 40th anniversary team.
No.
Well, you get to help out a little bit behind the scenes,
I
so
do.
you're probably excited about it as well.
I'm very excited for them.
Yeah. Well, how do you keep the performances feeling fresh for both the riders and audience when kind of people go, oh, it's probably the same thing every year?
Yeah, no, that's a valid comment, but I actually choreograph a new performance every other year with a music change every year. So to an audience that sees you once a year, they probably wouldn't actually realize that it was the same performance 2 years in a row. And that's why I do it. I just, if you've seen us multiple years, you want to be seeing something different. Granted, we have, different horses, different riders each year. With that music change, I think it just spices things up for the next year. And then we usually will incorporate like a new maneuver or two as well. So it's not exactly the same, but we definitely do a full changeover every other year. So that does set us apart from a lot of other groups as well, because they will develop a ride and then perform only that ride. So I think that's something I probably should have said too, that was unique to show riders. I like to add in new maneuvers and challenging maneuvers also for the return riders, so that they feel each year is different too. That goes back to what we had talked about earlier. And then we try and add new uniforming every year as well. So, I mean, we keep all of our uniform shirts and go through them, but we like to add a new one if we can each year or every other year, depending. But
yeah. Actually, I'm just kind of thinking about it. Even though you might be doing the same performance for 2 years, you wouldn't necessarily as a rider think it's the same performance, because you're with different dynamics, right? You have different riders, you have different horses, so it presents different challenges, even if it's the exact same routine. And
you're usually not in the same position you were the previous year either.
Yep, that makes sense.
You may not have been a leader the year before, and now you're in a lead position, or your spot in the ride has also changed. So I would say it feels new every year for everyone. For everyone, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, that's actually really cool to hear, because I'm not part of the show riders. Again, FOMO right over here. But it's interesting to kind of hear how the different dynamics work, how to keep things fresh without putting too much stress on you and the riders and the horses, because that's a lot of work for everybody involved when you constantly change things, and how you still keep it fresh without putting all that strain. That can be difficult for everybody.
Okay, so if you could travel back in time to your first year as show riders coach, what's one piece of advice you would give to your younger self starting out in this industry?
To reach for the stars. As cliche as that sounds, I never give up. Take the chance. You never know where it will lead you, so take the chance.
I love that.
I think that leads into our first episode of Just Do It. You just have to start and see what happens. So check that out if you haven't.
It's a great episode.
Well, you're talking about reaching for the stars and just getting up and going. But what legacy do you hope to leave as a coach, both inside and outside the arena?
It took me a bit, to be honest, to it's hard to think of the legacy you'll leave. But I hope that it is building strong youth and leaders of tomorrow.
That's a beautiful legacy, and I think that's something lovely that throughout this whole interview, I don't know if you as listeners have noticed a pattern that Jamee is always looking for the best in her riders, in her people. She wants to build good people. It's not about building Jamee. It's always about building others. And that's a beautiful characteristic to have. And it shows the kindness that goes into this.
And that's the best legacy, is how you can impact other people's lives for the better.
Absolutely.
What is your biggest hope for the next generation of horse people?
Another great question. I want to say that we stay true to our Western ways and lifestyles, carry on the traditions, teach the next generation, never lose those. The moment we stop doing all of this is when we lose it. And I think if that happens, you won't get it back. So I feel like we need to just keep teaching and showing these ways to the generations below us and up and coming, keep it alive that way.
I think education's such an important one for that, because most of us aren't on farms anymore. Most of us are not in rural communities anymore. We're very urban. Around the world, most places are more city based, and it can be very difficult if you're growing up in the city and you don't have family, let's say. How do you even learn about it? And I think Showriders is actually a great example of that, because it's a way of bringing different communities, different backgrounds, different people in an urban setting to learn about horses or learn about agriculture. Just Stampede is really good at that, of like showcasing agriculture in a way that is friendly, in a way that is educational, and in a way that is non-judgmental, you know, where they're like, hey, you don't know about milking cows? Let me show you. Let me explain this to you. If you want to learn, I'll give you the resources. Whereas sometimes in these smaller communities, if you are not a part of it, there can be that pushback of, this is mine. And I think Showriders, Stampede, just in general, are very good at embracing everybody's background and embracing everybody's education level and giving them options.
And keeping that Western heritage alive.
Yep. So this is something we want to make sure we're asking every guest for our guests in the saddle is, what is one thing, or a few things if you have them, that you do outside the saddle that helps you become a better horse owner, a better coach, and a better person?
Breathe. Number one. Keep myself grounded is another one. Have a social calendar. Make time for friends and family. That's important. Me days, we talked about that earlier. Actually make those happen. Gratitude daily is a big one for me too. Keep learning new things. Never stop learning. I feel like you're never too old to learn new things, really. We're forever students. So, and then push myself out of my comfort zone, like today.
Yeah.
You did so good.
Is there any like activities specifically that you do for that to ground yourself?
I don't know.
Write emails.
Write emails.
Yoga.
Take notes.
Make itineraries.
Color code.
Yeah, right? Organize things.
Oh, isn't that the most satisfying thing though?
Yes.
I love it.
Well, unfortunately, our time with Jamee is ending today, but we're so grateful that you got to come on and share your story and wisdom with us and our listeners here on the Uncinch podcast. So thank you so much, Jamee. We loved having you, and we hope you've enjoyed being a part of Uncinched.
Thank you, ladies, for having me. I did enjoy being part of Uncinched, and like I said, got me out of my comfort zone, but I really enjoyed just chatting with you ladies and keeping it real and sharing about myself and about the program that I'm so passionate about.
Well, if you're looking for ways to follow Jamie and the Showriders, or perhaps you're interested in being part of the Showrider team, you can check out their social media on TikTok and Instagram at CS Showriders and send them a DM for more information. We'll also link into our description some areas that you can look more into the Showrider program and learn a little bit more about Jamie as a coach.
If you love what we're doing and want to support Uncinched, we're open to sponsors and advertisers who vibe with our vision. Whether you're a small business, a big brand, or somewhere in between, we'd love to chat. Just shoot us a message on Instagram or email us at uncinch.podcast@gmail.com.
So next time on Uncinched, we're diving into our very first Uncinched Confessions. And I'm so stoked. It's gonna be wild, hilarious, and probably a little spicy. We already have so many submissions, but we want all of it. We want to hear everybody's story. So give us your biggest pet peeves in the horse industry or about your horse, just biggest pet peeve. You know, you won't want to miss out on it. We are still taking submissions. So if you have something that you want to add, a funny story, a tidbit, anything, we are open to it and we'll read it, and you might just be featured on our next episode. So click the link in our description to have your voice be heard.
Thank you again for listening. Please hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out when new episodes are released, and follow us on social media for more chaos and updates between episodes.
Yeah, and again, thank you so much, Jamie, for coming on. We had such a wonderful time.
Bye.